Ordis keeps a tidy ship, and is therefore reluctant to allow animals on board. In so much as reload.
Their rage is vehement, their focus impressive. Give them all warriors' death.
Watch out. I'm detecting void fissures nearby. Do you have a matching relic? Life support has been cut off. They're trying to choke you out. Hold on. I'm sending auxiliary life support. We're near a fissure. Collect reactant to open the relic. Be aware, only corrupted enemies will track it. Keep fighting. Look for more reactant. Tenno, prepare for life support. I've delivered a life support capsule to the area. Activating it will buy you more time. Well done, Tenno. Your relic is opened. Life support on the way. Additional life support has arrived.
chip coverage, healthcare.gov is here for you.
Where can we find a low-cost health plan?
What about a plan that covers doctor visits?
Emergency care?
Prescriptions?
With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Healthcare.gov is here for you. Enroll today for coverage starting the 1st of next month.
What's the website again?
Healthcare.gov.
Sometimes together is really but why don't we get into an accessory coming with Sevagoth Prime Access, which is our first Prime Signa to ever come in a Prime Access. And I also believe this is the first Signa style where we kind of divert away from the Halo stylings that we've been doing thus far. So why did we want to take a new direction with it with Sevagoth?
Character himself, and we thought it would be just cool if we could put this plume on any character, because why not? It's cool.
Yeah. Everyone can essentially become a cool, really regal pirate, I guess, at the end of the day. We've also got, we're going to transition into some in-game shots here. We've got, of course, the model here, and I think, as you had mentioned, that there was some pretty interesting things going on with that, like, golden sheen that we also see on there.
Yeah, so we noticed this on the character. The character artist was doing something really interesting. Usually with emissive, the tail is emissive, by the way. We just put black as the background so that the emissive color comes out more boldly. But the character artist actually put just the gold underneath it and let it shine through a little bit, so you get this beautiful, like a floral look of just the green over everything.
It's honestly stunning. I was running around with it in the dev build the other day, and the feathers bounce around with you, and you get that beautiful sheen coming through. So good job, guys. Good job, team. All right. Character team. Shout out. All right. Do you guys want to see Sevagoth Prime? Yeah, all right. There's our boy. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful boy. All right, Antonio is a wizard because taking this from concept to what you're seeing here is absolutely. Also, you can now actually see the back of him, which was something that you guys didn't see in the concept, so you can see even more of that extravagant kind of design coming through there. As you mentioned, Greg, Sevagoth's base model is fairly complex as is, so how did you guys make it possible to kind of push the limits of how Sevagoth could look?
Yeah, I think each prime is its own unique challenge. Obviously, for the original, for pretty pragmatic Tenogen reasons, right? So some people want to mix and match the outfit.
Shout out Tenogen.
Prime parts. But in the case of Sevagoth Prime, the rework was quite expensive. There's a significant amount of the vanilla spot underneath, so you can swap stuff. But in order to build the design, and it's not a significant departure in terms of the theme, but I think this time in particular is very special. Again, Sevagoth, the original Sevagoth is a complex one, and this one just kind of comes out a little bit. So yeah, it's again, it's just my previous answer is there's no real technical cost. It's just kind of judging what you can keep and what you can work. And so that's one of the examples where a lot of effort into the judging.
Yeah, pretty stunning. Now, remember how I mentioned the little diamond concept? Well, for our Sevagoth player, you know about his tombstone when you're down. So he's got a really crazy tombstone. I don't feel like it's correct to call this a tombstone. It's too nice. And Sevagoth is going to have to open up his own personal museum of himself with all the tombstones he's racking up at this point. But we got kind of like a little bit of like a Grecian styling here. Were there any other kind of like references used? It does look like a real piece.
Yeah, I think the Antonio first part of the match, you can kind of wrap this off along with it's not really a tombstone at this point. It's more shrine or pedestal, right? Like vanity times 1,000, I think. But I think Sevagoth deserves it.
100%. It really does. And now, while Sephiroth is living lavish in his tombstone, Shadow Prime is going to be hard at work trying to bring him back. Yeah. Those claws are crazy. Are they bigger than the base of it all? Or are they
It is hard to have anything.
Great point. Great point. Also, Shadow would probably make a really good Lunaro player. He's basically got Arcadas for arms at this point. Alright, so... Oh, also the tail. The tail is really fun. The tail does kind of switch around a little bit when you're moving around. It's really fun. Alright, we are going to... So we've seen every single piece of Sevagoth Prime in Sevagoth Prime Access. Now, why don't we get a 360 look at Sevagoth Prime and his Exalted Prime Shadow. There he is. We'll give him a spin. Alright. So, to recap, we have Sevagoth Prime, his Exalted Shadow Prime, the Epitaph Prime, the Prime Signa, Nautilus Prime Sentinel, the Sentinel Prime accessories, and those are all coming in our next Prime access. Alright, I'm gonna let him complete his spin there, but it wouldn't be an art panel without... What's that? Tempestari Prime? Did I just hear you want a Tempestari Prime? I guess a Prime Captain does need a Prime ship. That's scary. I don't know, that's a big ordeal. It's an idea. Put that on the back of our mind. It wouldn't be an art panel without showing you guys the next deluxe. Alright, we're gonna introduce you now to Caliban Deluxe. Let's see our boy. Yeah. Yes. What an upgrade. Oh my god. Okay, so there are some very cool themes here. What were the main source materials for Caliban Deluxe?
Yeah, the original Caliban is sort of a character out of Shakespearean play, and it kind of portrayed as a half human, half creature. So those are the themes we were exploring at the very beginning when we were concepting this. So something was settled on, that kind of the duality, and that is what Caliban, the original Caliban, is as well in Warframe. So here it's sort of a medieval armored soldier, and maybe a bit of like a sea creature from the deep, from the swamp, kind of blending those two elements together.
And now, Carrie, how does the team go about choosing deluxe skin themes for Warframes while still kind of honoring and maintaining the core visual elements of the game? And obviously, more specifically, Caliban Deluxe here.
Ideas and there's lots of ways to step yourself towards that, which is what we need to do.
Right.
Pretty sure you'd
over what you mentioned earlier on, we decided to do more of a Death Knight kind of vibe on this one. Still trying to keep some characteristics from Caliban itself, so middle section still open, we want a bit more overbuild with the attacks there. Always the pressure are going to be also inheriting some of this.
Marco, you're spoiling things for people. So yes, a core element of Caliban's kit, as you may know, and kind of runs through the sentient nature, is of course his interprosmal homunculus, which, as you can see here, has also been deluxified. Going back over to these. Yeah. Yeah, so from their heads to their toes to their baton, they don't have toes, to their baton arms, they got a completely new look. And you guys really went the extra mile with this deluxe because I think originally the Conculus maybe weren't going to get deluxified, and you guys were like, nah, we got to pull it all the way through. So how did you go about creating such a complementary companion to Caliban Deluxe?
Well, you still try to keep some of the characteristics from the this game. The armor blue. They have some of the cloth in the back. Of course, you have to still go over the asset.
Right.
You gave them the arms.
Yeah, back scratchers. All right, so obviously we need a equally deadly weapon skin to complete the look. So this brings us to this insanely cool Scythe Deluxe skin. Yes, tell us a little bit more about this.
Yeah, so on the character, there's a lot of reflections, areas and stuff. You kind of want to change those areas into something that's not flesh, because you don't have a weapon that's made of like an arm or something. That would be weird. So we kind of lean more into the hard materials and stuff with this one, but we still wanted to contain some of that ephemeral kind of, or ethereal kind of look to it. So we've got the top section is actually floating on the effects there. This folds up just like the original Venado.
Yeah.
But it is a scythe skin for halves.
So styled after the Venado, but skin all right, so a deluxe collection obviously wouldn't be complete without some kind of cosmetic accessory as well. So why don't we transfer the haunting aura of Caliban Deluxe into anything? Yeah. What?
Yeah, you follow in this case, maybe the soul right there.
Oh, we love it. Look at those guys go. Oh my goodness. All right, so that's not all for Caliban. You'll want to tune into Tunnel Live to learn more about Caliban's future. All right, so since we see Caliban hanging out in Albert's laboratories, living his best life, we're going to switch it up here, and we're going to have a look at some of the foundational concepts that brought us the labs and the man-on-the-wall environments from the Whispers in the Wall update. So we're going to start with this one here. Marco, this is really cool. What are we looking at here?
Very early
The longer you
steps
fight,
into
the more successful
the
it will
project.
be.
In this case, we knew we were going to tell them to do the labs. So we picked what we had at the time, which was the Venus Hall, and try to represent the man in the wall. In this case, start ideating what would it look like. In this case, literally overlapping to our reality and breaking the walls and coming to the walls.
Yeah, opening up that door into something like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gradually, you try and picture what's on the other side. And in this case, you have this weird kind of labyrinth skybox on top, some of this floating weird architecture.
Right.
Initially, we went very generic, like floating piece and bits, and gradually we tried to integrate some more architectural pieces from
yeah, actually we see that starting to kind of see that in here, right? Yeah, and also the, poor Excalibur. It is, yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of what you guys are going for in terms of scale. Really making this house, I feel, impactful and kind of dreadful. It's bigger than you, bigger than anything.
I meant to imply that the man in the wall would be a happy so.
Very fair. Glad you brought that up, Carrie, because you can't talk about these environments without actually talking about the man in the wall himself. Yeah, this is crazy. I know there could have been like a million different ways you guys could have gone in integrating what we know the man in the wall as now. So how did you guys settle on those particular elements pulled from Cardboard Wall?
Well, I mean, at the beginning, we were looking at a lot of body horror aspects and stuff right down close, and you do have to be honest, like, what is achievable? If you have to do like a character sculpt for everything, that's not going to get done now. So we simplified in the foreground, but there's a lot of those elements in the skybox and similar, and you can see how we sort of made progress on that.
Right. We're seeing a bit more kind of like that brutalism that you guys were talking about. A lot of stairs and ramps that don't really go anywhere. Maybe foreshadowing for prospects here, but we also see that a little bit more in here as well. Yeah, and I guess that also would have lended over to the Murmur faction too, right? Awesome. All right. So I believe. Oh, we do. This is kind of getting to more what we're familiar with now as you roam around the Man in the Wall tile set. So we also added something here too, I believe.
Gradually, you try to add elements to the original theme. In this case, we started implementing like sand floors and flowing up, weirdly enough.
Why does it flow up?
We know it's a void dimension, it doesn't really have a specific time flow like we normally would have.
Right. Eternalism. All right, so from concept to execution, there are obviously many stages to how a level actually gets built. And so let's take a look at the part of the fragmented arena where we went from, gray boxes here to what you kind of know it as now. And we're going to see a bit more that's going the wrong way. But, man, lighting and volumetric fog makes a huge difference.
It really does. Thank you so much. Thank you, graphics program. You're great.
Yeah, thank you for that, because it really brings a certain kind of moodiness and liveliness to these tile sets while you're hacking and slashing away there. And,
it's a team sport all the way down.
Yeah, which there you go. You can see their lovely names of the wonderful people who work on that particular tile. So, yes, please applaud them. Please, they deserve it. They deserve their flowers. Absolutely. Oh, that gave me chills. All right, so we've seen how the Man in the Wall sausage is made. It's time for us to explore Albrecht's laboratory, since these two areas are very highly intertwined, of course. What were the early days of mapping out Albrecht's laboratories like?
Well, we were working from some of the prior work with Deimos, so you'll see a lot of the same bones, but of course this has far more flourish. And in other words, what would a mad Victorian scientist in a sci-fi world who had enjoyed MVP do?
A lot of things, apparently, and a lot of really neat machinery to accomplish those tasks. Some arcana and whatnot. Time seems to be a very important theme here.
Yeah, if you need to time your eggs or go back in time, you've got your machine right there.
Thanks, Albrecht. All right. Also, obviously, actually, before we get to that, we have this, of course, the streaming connector. So what bridges the gap between the Sanctum and Atomica and you actually entering Albrecht's laboratories. And this is a crazy area. Like, I mean, you're only in there for so many seconds, but it's just, there's a lot happening, and I really want to know how you guys go about concepting something that's going to obviously have so much movement and impact.
Actually, Rebecca might have mentioned some of the early tricks with telescope and clock connections and stuff like that. Then you kind of rough it in the space, and then you do a few versions to give yourself motion sickness. And then once you get past that, you start to get into sort of the same ornate family that you see in a lot of other pieces.
Right. Yeah, like Iotans, a lot of those highly moving parts that we've seen already in Warframe. All right. Now, once you actually get into the labs, you get to see a bit more of that opulence, that classic Entrati stylings, and not only that, but we also, of course, get very familiar with the vessels in these areas, and this is a very early concept of the vessels. So how was that process like?
Well, initially we didn't start as vessels. We were thinking about Albrecht potentially taking elements from the manual dimensions of parts of it and bringing it back to the labs and experiments or research in general. So that we will have different body parts looking things happening in the lab.
Yeah.
And that's actually what sparks the idea to make a whole person, a whole figure about it, and understand the message.
We put all the pieces together, the heart, the brain. I know there's a brain floating around there in the tiles. And yeah, we get to see a little bit more of that kind of exploration here as well.
Yeah, and I think how to that idea was the fact that we were doing a hub island. So we had to fill a very big space.
That was a very iconic moment where you're coming down out of the staircase, you go through the doors, and this kind of thing was the thing that kind of checkmark for the scene. So, thank you, Alberto.
Thank you, Alberto. Yeah, it's really impactful moments. And here is kind of like where we're seeing ultimately where we landed with the vessels, a bit more familiar to what we know it as now. And then I do believe we also have a very cool progress video of Albrecht's Laboratories with a tile that prominently features the vessels. Yes. It's amazing to see. And this is only 40 seconds of a video, but this is like potentially months of work put in from the team.
At this step, you know, a lot of like the Lego pieces, so to speak, so like the walls and things like that are pretty well established. So parts of it click in pretty quick, but yeah, the work to get to the point where these things can go quickly it's a huge process.
Absolutely. And again, that lighting coming in the volumetric fog, just making it so moody. Yeah, and there's the sand again. It's back. All right. Yep. Again, another applause for our wonderful team.
They fought well.
And we can't talk about Whispers in the Wall without talking about 1999, right? So
Love this piece. I just want to say
no,
that.
it's one of the, and it's also one of the cooler, well, there's lots of cool moments in that quest, but this is a pretty fun moment of the quest. You know, you're wandering around the labs, you hear that like subway chime.